Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette Mark Anderson shares advice from Kelsey. Mark Anderson is the father of Kelsey Anderson, the winner of Bachelor Season 28. He made a memorable impression when he appeared on Kelsey's hometown date. Mark is a 57-year-old United States Army veteran from Louisiana. He and Kelsey's mother met in the military, where they were both military police officers. Mark recently followed in his daughter's footsteps by appearing on the reality dating show The Golden Bachelorette. He was introduced to the show's star, Joan Vassos, by Kelsey herself. Mark's journey on the show has been highly anticipated, with a preview suggesting he will go far. What advice did Kelsey have for her dad? How he felt about overnight fame from Bachelor appearance. Mark Anderson's appearance on The Bachelor was brief, but the impact was immediate. Bachelor Nation fans took to social media to gush over what a great father he was to Kelsey. There were many cries for him to be the next Golden Bachelor. But instead, the Army vet joined the first season of The Golden Bachelorette as one of Joan Vassos' suitors. He recently spoke to The Wrap about his experience on the popular reality TV show. Mark Anderson admitted that he was taken aback by the initial reaction. However, he got over the embarrassment to put himself out there again. Why he decided to join Golden Bachelorette. Mark Anderson's wife passed away in 2018. Kelsey opened up to Joey Graziati about the loss on season 28 of The Bachelor. She encouraged her dad to apply for Golden Bachelorette. The more I thought about it, I was like, why not? Mark told The Wrap. I've told my kids their entire life to do stuff, and don't shy away from things. Take that opportunity and go do it. So it wouldn't really be right for me not to. But his first meeting with Joan Vassos didn't go as planned. He explained, I had a great spiel that I wanted to say. I knew of her. I saw pictures of her. I saw a video of her. But I stood in front of her, my mind went blank, and it was awestruck. Mark Anderson shares advice from Kelsey. He revealed that his daughter had some sound advice for him before the show, and it was the same advice he gave her before she joined The Bachelor. Mark Anderson, the dashing and ever-charming contestant on The Golden Bachelorette, had always believed that life had a way of coming full circle. Now standing in the warm spotlight of a reality TV dating show, he felt that belief stronger than ever. In the swirl of roses, cocktail dresses, and champagne toasts, he carried something more valuable than confidence. He carried advice from his daughter, Kelsey, that anchored him through the emotional highs and lows of the competition. As the cameras rolled and the audience swooned over the affable gentleman who had won over hearts across the nation, Mark remained grounded in the words that Kelsey had whispered to him before he took his first step into the whirlwind world of televised romance. Remember, Dad, be you. Don't change who you are for anyone or anything. That was the core of what Kelsey had told him. It seemed so simple, yet in the pressure cooker of national television, where every move, every smile, every word is dissected, it was easier said than done. Mark clutched to that advice as though it were a life preserver in a sea of uncertainty. After all, he had signed up for the Golden Bachelorette, not just to find love, but to show his daughter that no matter what stage of life you're in, you can still chase your dreams. Kelsey had always been Mark's rock. A fiercely independent woman with a heart of gold, she had weathered her own storms in love, offering her father lessons drawn from her own experiences. The advice she gave him wasn't just father-to-daughter platitudes. It was the hard-won wisdom of a woman who had lived and loved deeply. Kelsey had watched her dad endure the heartbreak of losing her mother, and she knew that his venture into finding love again wasn't just a search for companionship, but a reclamation of joy and vulnerability. Dad, Kelsey had said, sitting across from him on the porch swing just days before the cameras began rolling. This journey isn't just about you finding someone. It's about you allowing someone to find you. Don't guard yourself too much. Let someone in. Mark had thought about that piece of advice almost every night during filming. The mansion was gorgeous, the women equally so, but navigating relationships on such a public stage was something that even a seasoned man like Mark found daunting. He'd always been composed, graceful under pressure. But here, with the stakes of love so high, he realized he was in uncharted waters. Still, Kelsey's words were his compass. She reminded him to let his guard down, to be vulnerable, something that didn't come naturally for a man who had spent most of his life protecting his heart. In one particular scene, where the producers had orchestrated a lavish one-on-one date under a canopy of stars, Mark found himself sitting across from Sophia, a strong-willed woman with an infectious laugh. They had already shared a handful of conversations, each time peeling back another layer of their lives, but tonight felt different. The intimacy of the moment, coupled with the soft glow of candlelight, created an air of raw honesty. Sophia reached out, placing her hand on Mark's. "You're so calm, Mark. Like nothing phases you. Don't you ever feel scared about any of this?" She motioned around them, as if to capture the magnitude of the journey they were both on. Mark took a breath, feeling the weight of the cameras, the expectations, and Kelsey's advice swirling in his mind. It was true. He had always presented himself as the collected one. But tonight, something in Sophia's question nudged him to reveal the truth. "You know," he began, his voice steady but with an undercurrent of emotion, "I used to think that being calm meant having control over everything. But what I've learned is that control doesn't really exist when it comes to love. You have to let go." Sophia's eyes softened, and for the first time, Mark felt the realness of the moment. It wasn't about the cameras, the show, or the competition. It was about two people sharing their vulnerabilities. He could almost hear Kelsey's voice in his head. "Let someone in, Dad." And so he did. Later that night, as Mark sat in the mansion's living room, flipping through pictures of his family on his phone, he couldn't help but smile at the photo of Kelsey. Her bright smile and wide eyes reflected the unwavering faith she had in him. It was funny, he thought, how the roles had reversed over the years. He had once been her protector, the dad who held her hand as she learned to ride a bike, the one who wiped away her tears after her first heartbreak. But now she had become his guide, offering him the courage to step into the unknown. As the days of filming stretched on, Kelsey's advice continued to resonate with Mark. There were moments when he felt overwhelmed by the drama, the competing personalities, and the mounting pressure to stand out. But then he'd remember her words, "Be you." That advice became his North Star. It wasn't about winning the heart of the Golden Bachelorette by pretending to be someone he wasn't. It was about being true to himself and trusting that the right person would see him for who he was, not just as a contestant, but as Mark, a man who had lived, loved, and lost, and who was ready to open his heart again. In the final rose ceremony, as the tension crackled in the air, Mark stood among the remaining few, his heart pounding in his chest. He thought of Kelsey again, of all the times she had believed in him when he hadn't believed in himself. No matter what happened, he knew he had already won in the eyes of the person who mattered most. As the roses were handed out, Mark's mind drifted to one last piece of advice Kelsey had shared with him, a phrase she often used when life threw curveballs. "Dad, the right thing will happen at the right time. Just trust it." And as the final rose was offered, Mark smiled, knowing that whatever happened next, he had already succeeded because he had followed Kelsey's advice and stayed true to himself.